Hi, thank you for coming tonight. My name is Alex Nguyen. I'm an ISM student in architecture at Frisco High School, senior this year. This is a presentation about my journey through ISM. My mentor was actually Mr. Gomez over here. He mentored me throughout my journey, and that's why I have this presentation kind of like this. I'm talking about my experiences. Mr. Gomez, through my mentorship with him, took me to several of his building sites and projects that he's been working on, like the moment when I met him. And so I got a chance to go to several of these buildings that were not built yet and see how every single aspect of construction went. And one of my most memorable experience would be going to King Spa, and that thing is not built yet. It's quite shaky on the top levels, and we kind of climbed our way up there. And I actually have a fear of height, and so it wasn't exactly my cup of tea. You know what I mean? The experience I got to experience was testing out Mr. Gomez's 3D printer, where there's a software you put in where the design is, and the printer would actually print out the design for you, kind of like regular printer for 3D. Also got a chance to meet with several contractors and people that actually built the projects, and those people always give me hints and advice like, here's how you would do this if you want to make it cheaper or like more efficient. So that's my experience. I got to experience Mr. Gomez. Learning. So throughout this year, I've got a chance to learn what architecture is really like. I think in our society today, there's this really glamorized version of what an architect does and what his life is like and what his work is. It's really not that glamorous. I mean, you spend a lot of hours just drawing, and then only like maybe a few people actually get to live the life that's shown on TV, where you draw something that becomes famous and you get recognition and you go to gala and banquets and whatnot in your name, you know? So it's a really kind of demystified the whole image that I had of architecture before I joined this program. Progress. So right now on my original project, I'm actually trying to find a location for my buildings, and on top of that, when you find a location, you have to find the zoning restriction codes. For example, a city is founded, and they're going to say, well, I want this much of my land to be reserved for houses, and this much of my land reserved for buildings, and like commercial buildings. And depending on which part of land you're trying to build, there are some codes that you have to follow. Like, you can't build a 500 floor building in the middle of a housing district. You know, it wouldn't make any sense. And so usually you just find the location, you call, give them a call, give them a price, and then usually they tell you what kind of zoning it is, and then you have to go to the city's website for where the piece of land is, and they have their own like zoning requirement to go along with it. So there's a lot of rules and stuff you have to jump through, but when you get that all cleared out, it makes the work a lot more streamlined. Alright, so before I start talking about my original project, I have a little bit of a hands-on kind of thing for y'all to experience. I have right here a piece of paper. I just want y'all to grab a pencil that I gave to y'all before this presentation and draw me a house with just wherever y'all can think of, top of your mind. Yes, everybody. A house. Just a house. Ouch. Meanwhile, I will change my presentation. Just gonna have to come and have a look. There you go. It's really cool. 3D. Alrighty. So, as came and had a look, and most of y'all drew something that looked kind of like this. Some people made 3D, some people made 2D. So what you just did here isn't architecture. This is what we call designing in a vacuum, where you have no restrictions or anything to go along with. Now, this is what I'm talking about. I can put the picture. Again. This might be useful. Yeah, so what's the big idea? How do you design a house proper architecture? Okay, so if you want to design a building, obviously, how are you supposed to do it? Simple. 3 simple steps. You need to identify the needs. What do you need this building for? What does it do? Is it a house for you to live in? Is it a commercial building for you to have workers in? Is it a restaurant? Is it a hotel? Blah, 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 blah. You need to identify what you need. Then you think of the solutions. Well, say I want a house. I'm going to need bedrooms, restrooms, kitchen, living room, blah, blah, blah. If I need a restaurant, a larger customer room, and then I need a large kitchen too, you know? And then you need some areas for waiters and whatnot. You need to think about the solution, and then you just apply them. So I'm going to demonstrate how a proper architect would design a house. Okay, so I need a volunteer. Anybody? Cameron? You don't have to stand up, actually. Okay. I'm going to design a house for you. What do you think is the most important part of your house? The most important room?
Most important room?
Right.
Kitchen.
Kitchen? Okay. Next most important room?
Bedroom.
Bedroom. All right. Alrighty, next.
Living room.
Living room. Alright. Do you want, how many bedrooms do you want? Like side bedroom, inside the master one?
If I'm living by myself, I'll just have one.
Okay, so you have a family.
I'll have 3 extra bedrooms.
3 extra bedrooms. Alright. So you're also gonna need a living room, right? You have kids, so when you watch TV and whatnot. Good. 1, 2. Okay. You have a yard?
Yeah. And I have an
Okay.
office too.
So, is this yard, do you have an open view from it, from your kitchen, your bedroom, or from the living room?
So I have an open view from the kitchen and the living room.
Okay. So, if you want to do that, you have to move the bedroom to that side. There you go, you got a yard right here. Now what do you want people to, what's the first room you want to see when you walk into this house?
What's that room on the far left?
This is what do they call this? This is the, eating room, right? Since you have a family, you need to have like a place with a long table.
Dining.
No? Dining room, right. That's what I was thinking about.
All the rooms are the eating rooms.
When they walk in, they can see the dining room and the kitchen.
Alright, so something like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a basic sketch. This is the most basic sketch ever. But then every architect starts with this, and then we have this lights table where you put this over that, and then you can start actually like making proper shapes. And then this is your second sketch with like a lot dirtier. I would usually would grab a meter and do like a really proper line and whatnot. Anyway, so this gives you a basic idea what the house looks like. Now, the next part would be to ask Cameron, what kind of house do you like? Like modern style houses? Do you like something out of the 17th century? Do you like, or something like something you see every day?
Modern.
Modern. So most likely not, this house would have a lot of sharp lines. So if you look from this point of view, you can see something like this. And then most likely not, entrances are always usually to the dining room or never to the kitchen. So the door will probably be over here. And then you can ask about him, like, what kind of windows do you think about? You think it's something squarish? You want something like roundish and whatnot? And this is basically the process you go through. That you don't start from the 3D image of it. You start with the plan of it, and depending on what the customer needs, you adjust the 3D accordingly. Now, say Cameron comes later, it's like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna live by myself. There you go. You know. So basically, it's kind of like a game where you adjust constantly to the needs of your customers. And this is what architects really like. And this is one of my projects going to be like. I mean, my project had planned of building a residential building, which is kind of like a house. I found this really nice property on the side of the lake, where the house basically have an open view from the kitchen onto the lake. Kind of like I drew that inspiration from Tom Cruise's house in Hollywood, which is a really beautiful house. Very expensive, but really beautiful. Then my fan project would be a commercial building, which is a lot simpler because, say, a commercial building includes a warehouse. What's the purpose of a warehouse? To contain stuff. So basically, warehouse. There, with some 4 walls or a roof, and you have a warehouse. Which, by the way, are some of the best projects around because they bring a lot of money in because architects actually charge per feet squared. So warehouses are really easy to do. They're really large most of the time, so they bring in a lot of money. That's what you charge really a lot. But yeah, so for my original building, my commercial building, I tend to have a blueprint of it, an actual like gigantic roll blueprint, a 3D model of it, an artist rendering, and a 3D rendering of my project. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.